It's a fixture between two of the heavyweights of NPL Victoria. Two teams that, if you've been paying any attention to the second tier here in the Victorian leagues, you'll have never failed to notice. Heidelberg United, Bentleigh Greens, FFA Cup specialists, title-winning specialists, and tonight it's the game of the round. The two meet for the first time this season. My name is Joey Lynch, and I'm joined here by Joel Ferrucci, my co-host on the Daily Football Show. And Joel, well, it's a big one tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, massive, and of course the two teams locked on 16 points as well, so a lot riding on it. It's at the top, and yeah, certainly two teams that's probably a bit of an indifferent start to the season, a bit up and down for both sides, but yeah, massive game, plenty riding on it.
Absolutely. The two sides, second and third on the NPL Victoria table, only separated by goal difference, so all to play for here, with both sides eager to keep touch with the runaway league leaders at this point, Avondale, who played earlier today. The Heidelberg coming into this game, coached by George Katsakis, his 8th season in charge. Pretty good run of form, 4 wins in their last 5 games, win-win, loss, win-win. Starting in goal for Heidelberg will be Chris Theodoridis. And in front of him, number 2, Josh Wilkins. Number 3, Les Dumbalis. Number 6, Lewis Hall. Number 7, Ruben Way. Number 9, Adrian Zara. Number 13, Luke Biles. Number 14, Harry Noon. Number 15, Paul O'Brien. Number 17, Stephen Pace. Number 19, Sean Ellis rounds out the lineup. For the visiting Greens, slightly more indifferent form, coached by Johnny Anastasiadis in his 9th and final season as head coach of Bentleigh. He's, of course, off to Western United later in this year, coming into this game on a run of loss, win, draw, win-loss. Starting in goal is Ryan Scott, and in front of him, number 3, Jacob Alexander, number 5, Jack Webster, number 8, George Lambadaridis, number 10, Tyson Holmes, number 11, James Exidius, number 14, Marko Jankovic, number 15, Valentino Uel, number 16, Josh Meeker, number 18, Matt Thurtell, and number 23, Velibor Mitrovic. And of course, running through those lineups, a couple of names jump out by their presence or indeed their absence, Joel. For Heidelberg United, the likes of Andrew Kartanos, Alex Giavo, and the big one, Tom Cahill, not playing. Cahill, he's scored 4 times this season for Heidelberg already, scored last week, but he's not able to get up tonight, struggling with an injury, but some massive outs for the Burgers tonight.
Yeah, big. Obviously, look at the likes of Schiavo and Katanos. A bit of excitement through midfield. So, I mean, you never want to kind of lose that spark. And of course, up front, a guy like, excuse me, Tom Cahill just really provides a presence as well as the goals. A real handful for defenders. So it'll be interesting to see how they sort of deal with that. Seems to be a bit, I guess, bit lighter, a bit smaller up top for Heidelberg. So potentially the likes of Harry Noon and Adrian Zara will have to shoulder a bit more of the load up front.
And some of the ins for Bentleigh, they don't have the big outs, they've got the big ins. Valentino Uel, like his coach, who will soon to be off to Western United later in the season. He's back after overcoming an injury last week and returning from suspension. Marko Jankovic is one of the big ins, as is Jacob Alexander. The two were red-carded in Bentleigh's win against, I think it was Port Melbourne a couple of rounds ago. But they're back tonight, and some very handy ins for Bentleigh, Joel.
Yeah, and I can't wait to watch Valentino Uel play. He's someone that you've sold me on, Joey, and of course he signed for Western United as well, and possibly one that's got some of John Anastasiadis' fingerprints on it. But first time I'll have a really good look at him. I'm really excited to see what he can do. Of course, came over from Adelaide City at the start of the year, but yeah, he's a massive one. I just can't wait to watch him play and hopefully light the place up.
Well, Joel, two of the big names here in NPL Victoria. They've played once this season in the F Football Victoria Community Shield. On that day, it was a 2-0 win to Bentleigh Greens. But big question tonight is, Joel, who's going to get the chocolates this evening?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. I think I'd have to go with Heidelberg United. I mean, their home form's been pretty good this season. So of course, if you can maximise that, then you've got to be confident. So I think tonight they'll get the job done at home. But that said, it'll be interesting to see how they do without Tom Cahill up front. And of course, as you mentioned, Joey, some big ins for Bentleigh Greens as well, just to complement them. We mentioned Valentino Uel, but also, of course, Jacob Alexander, who was off up in Queensland with Brisbane Roar on trial for a bit. Obviously, didn't come to anything, but he's back for them and a big in. But look, I'm going to go with Heidelberg for now.
No, the home field cooking perhaps. Well, as we're waiting for the contest to get going, there's a few things coming on. I'm not sure what the hold-up is. The two sides in having a chat. George Katsakis, never one to be afraid of sharing his opinions with the referees. Chatting. Chris Theodoridis in the... Well, that's confusing. Chris Theodoridis wearing green like his opponents tonight. Over there having a chat. And maybe that's what the conversation is about. Could be a slight snafu. Magic of NPL Victoria, Joel.
Oh, just another one of those NPL things, hey, Joey? I mean, the last time that we were on comms together, there was a doggo on the pitch. Couldn't make it up.
Dogs on the pitch, and then Thomas Biss scores an absolute worldie for Eastern Lions in that game. Eastern Lions did play earlier today, have just come from their game, actually, where the NPL2 Eastern Conference League leaders, well, they suffered their second defeat on the bounce. Last week, their first defeat of the season against Northcote City. Today, 2-0 defeat at the hands of Melbourne City Youth in a game that, well, for the Lions, they never actually looked like they were going to get into, as we see a fan over here in the stands at Olympic Village offering his shirt to Chris Theodoridis. I don't think he'll be taken up on that offer, but yeah, Eastern Lions, perhaps danger signs for them, never looks like getting into it against City Youth. Well, I'm not sure if you can tell, those of us that are joining us on the streams, we're desperately trying to kill time here as we wait for the game to commence, a game that should have kicked off a little while ago. Should have kicked off 10 minutes ago, as Theodoridis looks to have found a different jumper, so that was what the hold-up was. He'll be wearing grey tonight. George Katsakis remonstrating with the referees, marshalled away by Harry Noon playing peacekeeper. And it looks like perhaps we will finally get this contest underway. Noon, who will have to perhaps shoulder the load of the absence of Cahill, was on the score sheet for Heidelberg United last week in their 3-2 win over Kingston. They came back from 2-1 down in that one, scoring in the 64th minute to secure the 3 points, as we are now finally underway here at Olympic Village. And UL gets a touch early. And it's just, we've had an early coming together here already. And Noon is going to go into the book after less than 15 seconds. Bringing down the Bentleigh centre-back. I think it was Yankovic. No, not Yankovic, so it looks like it will be his partner, Webster. And well, Joel, in case you didn't notice, it looks like it's a game between two heavyweights, and looks like we're in for a physical one. Yeah, well, no mucking about early from the referee. Yellow card straight out of the pocket. I mean, certainly setting the tone. I guess it's almost, in a way, somewhat of what we'd expect from Harry Noon. A bit of a robust individual he is, but I guess it'll be easy for us up front. He kind of looks like Tom Cahill, but yeah, no mucking about from the officials. So, look, certainly seems as though he's eager to get on top of things very early indeed. And it looks like he will be playing in a front two with Zara. So that's how they will set up again. And it's now UL under pressure. Dispossessed. And it will be a throw-in to the Greens. Sorry, to Heidelberg. So very narrow from Heidelberg there. Ball was flicked on by Way. And it's now marshalled out for another Heidelberg throw. Zara. Under pressure from multiple Bentleigh defenders. He's trying to hold them off. And he will win a throw-in, which will be taken by Way. Way with a throw-in. Headed clear, however, by Yankovic. Early pressure from Heidelberg. They've once again, and Zara has won the ball. Unfortunately for Heidelberg, there is nobody waiting in the penalty area, and Scott will collect and get Bentleigh moving in attack of their own. Clash between Dumbalis and Ewell. Ball comes out once again to Heidelberg. Helped across the field by Hall. Pressed forward for Noon, but no doing, and it's hoofed clear by Bentleigh. Well, Heidelberg with the early running job.
Yeah, and it seems as though they're looking to play some balls in behind rather early to the feet of Zara and Noon, or just out in front. And I mean, that's certainly how they're going to have to go about it, just to adjust the way they play, of course, from Tom Cahill. A bit of a target man, if you like, but certainly a very different dynamic up front with Zara and Noon. A bit more pace, a bit more speed. So maybe we'll see a bit more, a bit more counter-attacking, one-punch football from Heidelberg.
As we await the resumption of play. Taking their time with it. Heidelberg throwing the ball back in. It's been Wilkins over there at right back. I think it is a very long way away. But now a long throw down that right flank. But headed clear by Bentleigh. And now Bentleigh can look to break. But the ball will roll out of play. And pretty much in the exact same spot as before, Heidelberg have another throw in. And it is lofted forward once again, but one headed clear by Bentleigh. Bentleigh moving the ball forward in possession. Ball is sent out to the right, but no doing as Heidelberg will clear the ball, but lofted clear towards the captain Webster, who will head the ball back. And we'll have another stoppage here. Well, it was a furious opening, Joel, but now all of a sudden it's gone stop-start again.
Yeah, extremely stop-start. Very sporting there from Stephen Pace just to knock that one onto the running track on the opposite side of the pitch. But, yeah, it's got a bit scrappy in the last few minutes or so. And, I mean, I guess the thing I've noticed from Heidelberg is a few sort of lofted balls over the top, rather fortuitous, if you like, or hopeful, I should say, which I don't really think is the way they should be approaching things without Tom Cahill, of course, with Harry Noon and Adrian Zara up front. But, interesting start. As you mentioned, a fast couple of minutes, but since then it's certainly got a bit scratchy.
Just pausing here for the injury. Doctor is on the field. And it looks as though a substitution is being made. So, bad news for the visitors, as it looks like Matt Thurtell is going to be unable to continue. He's coming up, he's barely able to put any weight on that leg. So Siu will be being brought on, scored in round 7, but that is not good news for the Bentleigh Greens. Very early on in the opening 10 minutes of the contest, Matt Thurtell has departed. He is their equal leading scorer with 4 goals, and not good for Bentleigh early, Joel.
No, not good. When you lose those kind of goals, and of course Matt Thurtell, very experienced striker at this level, certainly knows his way around the NPL. But yeah, that's a very big loss indeed. Particularly, it's I mean, at this stage of the game, for those that haven't been outside today, it's been a reasonably sort of warm, mild day in Melbourne as well. So not really ideal for Bentleigh Greens to lose one so early.
Now Heidelberg will look to clear Mitrovic. Sells Holmes into a bit of trouble, and now Heidelberg can look to attack themselves. Look the ball out to Ellis on the right. Ellis floats the ball in. Shot, the goal! Heidelberg take the lead. And Ellis, he was waiting, ready and able to hammer that ball home. Heidelberg, they started brightly and they have their lead. 1 goal to the Burgers, Joel.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a bit the same as what we've seen. A ball into the box and knocked down, a bit of pinball, and was smashed in from Sean Ellis. And, well, that's what you want, a bit of confidence, and certainly want to set the tone early from Heidelberg. And I guess that's something that they're going to need tonight. I mean, without Tom Cahill, we've spoken a lot about that, and the makeshift front line with Harry Noon and Adrian Zaro. If you can find goals from elsewhere, that's absolutely invaluable. And, well, geez, I tell you what, Joey, a really, really bad couple of minutes for Bentleigh Greens, conceding a goal, and they've lost their striker, Matt Thurtell, as well.
Exactly. The goals will have to cut. The equaliser will have to come somewhere else for Bentleigh, losing Matt Thurtell and then going down 1-0 very, very early to Heidelberg. How can Bentleigh respond? So they will get the ball forward. Heidelberg going ahead in just the 9th minute of play, it looks like. So, bit of early cooking there for Heidelberg. Once again, strong header clear there by the Heidelberg defence. Of course, well, maybe Heidelberg will be hoping that goal harbours a lot more to come, because both of these sides, as we mentioned, second and third, as the ball comes up towards UL as he wrestles. And another clash. Holmes looks like he's going to escape any further reprimanding, but as we mentioned, these two sides, second and third on the table, chasing table-topping Avondale, and Avondale, well, earlier today recording a 6-2 win over Dandenong Thunder. Bolins and Valentini both with braces in that one, so Avondale at least showing no signs of slowing down. And you wouldn't want to, if you do harbour aspirations of securing the Premier's plate, you wouldn't want to let them get too far ahead too early, Joel.
No, and well, the result today is probably about what we've come to expect from Avondale, just goals, goals, goals. And off the top of my head, I think that might be a dozen now for Liam Boland this season. He's been absolutely on fire, but the big thing for them is just plenty of goals.
As now Heidelberg break back into the box. Noon. Sorry, not Noon. That was Ellis. He kept going, but he looks like he's won a corner for his side. Another chance for Heidelberg to grab a goal. As we can see, Thurtell, he's in front of us here on the sidelines. He's still receiving treatment. He doesn't look to be in any severe pain, which is a good sign. So now the ball is swung in towards the back post. Looking for Noon, but he couldn't make contact. But it's kept in there by Heidelberg, keeping the pressure on. Ball is swung back in. And it's collected that time by Scott, who'll hoof the ball forward in the direction of Ewell. But Dumbalis is up to the task and clears. Now, Zara was on the ball, but he's been contacted there by the Bentleigh defence. And Heidelberg, again, they're getting very vocal here, wanting these foul calls and wanting extras handed out by the referee, but no going on that one. But just the vibe here, Joel, is that Bentleigh, under a bit of pressure here, and they need to knuckle down and just hold out before and collect themselves, really, don't they?
Yeah, well, the goal's certainly thrown things back in Heidelberg's favour. They really look to have, I guess, settled down, and like I said, a set piece isn't probably what you want right now.
As Zara swings it in, but it's headed clear. Dumbalis was trying to collect, but he can't, and it's just headed well clear and back into the danger area for Bentleigh. Oh, just crunching tackles coming in from everywhere. As Mika looks to spring UL, but a good tackle there from Biles. And it looks like it will be a goal kick to the Greens. Theodoridis puts the ball long. Headed back by Webster, though. And now Bentleigh, and now another crunching challenge. No going, though, and its play has continued as Zara is in possession. Gets the ball back to Ellis. He was looking for Way, but no doing, and instead Pace can just head the ball back to Theodoridis in his fresh new grey top that he was forced to change into after coming out in a green goalkeeping outfit. And we'll go again. Ball was in the direction of Noon, but no going. Ellis looking on the overlap. Ball comes in. And it's just slight panic stations for the Green, and says they'll concede another corner here. Swung into the near post this time. It's flicked onwards, but still danger signs for the Greens. Shot comes in! Just over the crossbar, and that was very, very close to being 2-0 there from Ruben Way. He just teed that up on the left foot, and that was almost a worldie, Joel.
Oh, what an effort from Ruben Way, and from our position. I mean, we had the perfect position to watch that, and it just seemed to, I guess, climb at the last minute, and obviously just crept over the bar.
Yeah, it definitely had Scott beaten from what we could see. Ruben Way, of course, back with Heidelberg after a very brief stint with the Wellington Phoenix earlier in the A-League season. One of the NPL players given a chance by Mark Rudan, himself an NPL type who's been given a chance, but rumour and innuendo swirling around him that I'm sure we'll get to later. But for now, we'll just focus on the fact that Bentleigh hanging on by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the moment, it's all one-way traffic, and, the goal and also the loss of Matt Thurtell really seem to have disrupted any, I guess, momentum that Bentleigh may have created, which even then, Joey, wasn't a great deal. Look, certainly it's all Heidelberg at the moment.
Zara working down the left. He's got Wayne support. Instead, it's collected by the Greens defence, and they can try to clear. Dumbalis and UL clash. It's going to be an interesting one to watch tonight. Biles just plays it back to Theodoridis. UL skips over the challenge and keeps going. And now Bentleigh can move down the left. Flicked in. UL's in space in time, but Theodoridis comes out and snuffs out the danger, and that's better from Bentleigh. That's what they'll need to do. It wasn't pretty, but at least a sight of the goals, Joel.
Yeah, first real opportunity for the game for Bentleigh Greens, but that's what you want from your goalkeeper if you're in Heidelberg United shoes, from Chris Theodoridis. Great sweeping in his fresh threads as well, if you like. But good to see Valentino UL getting involved as well. He's obviously a real danger outlet, and I mean, we've spoken a lot about how Heidelberg are going to have to adjust to life without Tom Cahill, but now it's going to be interesting to see how Bentleigh Greens are going to adjust to life without Matt Thurtell. And Valentino Uel, of course, on the ball now. He's going to be one of the ones that's going to be really integral to what they do moving forward from here.
The shot comes in over the bar. Theodoridis, well, you would have hoped he pegged that one off the boot because he didn't move as it came over. But he will have himself a goal kick. Just another long goal kick. And once again, Bentleigh will head that. But Heidelberg keep the ball, pressuring it. But now Scott. And a chance for Bentleigh to maybe get something going themselves. It's played left to Webster. Who he will play the ball forward for UL. And it's one of the fans in front of us just deafening us all with his whistle there, but the ball was played forward for UL, but went down under pressure from Dumbalis. And Bentleigh will now have a chance to reset themselves and try to get something going from an advanced position. It's Alexander standing over the free kick. He'll swing it in on his left. Swung into the danger area. UL rose for it, but couldn't get a contact with it, and it'll instead be a goal kick for Heidelberg. But that battle between Dumbalis and UL, it's already looking like in these early stages that it's going to be one that, well, both Heidelberg and Bentleigh are going to desperately need to win if they want to impose their will on this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, I'd almost go as far as saying a bit of a mischance there from Valentino UL. Maybe the ball was just a bit too tall for him there, but it was a free header in the end if he makes contact. So, yeah, missed one there, Joe. And I guess without Thurtell up front, they're going to have to maximise those opportunities, Bentleigh Greens.
The ball pinballing around. Heidelberg with a chance to go again. Floated in towards the back post. Ruben Ways. One touch, two touch, and he finds Ellis. Ellis flicks it up. It's collected by Scott. Now, Theodoridis almost took the ball out of his area there. John Anastasiadis on the sidelines. He's screaming that it should be a Bentleigh free kick. Doesn't look. He's not going to get one, however. But now Webster take possession of the ball. What do you think, Joel? What did he take it out the area?
I'll tell you what, Joey. I reckon Heidelberg have got away with murder there. I reckon Theodoridis was outside. I reckon he took about a step out.
There you go from Joel Frucci. Bentleigh should have a chance now. Should have had a chance, sorry. And Theodoridis maybe just handed a lifeline. But he'll have to remain on his toes because Bentleigh have a throw in. Down in front of the Heidelberg dugout. Pressure is kept up. Bentleigh clashing with Zara. Way. Ellis. God, the challenge is coming in thick and fast. That one from Biles. Bentleigh can go again, though. Alexander. Floats the ball in over the top. Man behind the defence, but his touch is poor there. Joel, we were talking about how Bentleigh needed to regroup. Looks like they've done it.
Yeah, they have. I mean, I guess a bit of the play swung back in their favour in the last probably 10 minutes or so, because before that it was really all Heidelberg, and of course we saw that shot from from Ruben Way as well that we thought might have found the top corner. But yeah, since then there's been a couple of little openings for Bentleigh Greens, but I mean they really do need to maximise those opportunities, because of course, as we mentioned, they've already lost a man, and the way the game's sort of panned out so far, it might not be like this for long. It could swing back any moment. So they really need to, I guess, find that edge in the final third.
Contest there between UL and Ruben Way eventually leads to Way winning a throw-in for his sides in front of the home dugout. Only goes as far as Lambatteridis, but was initially collected. But now Bentleigh will have a throw-in, which will be taken by Lambatteridis. UL. Once again, Way sliding in. Alexander puts the ball into the left flank. Heidelberg appealing for it, but instead it looks like it's going to be a corner one there. Which will be swung in from the left. Collection of Bentleigh players waiting on the edge of the area now, waiting to break, waiting for the signal. Swung in towards the back post. No doing, however. No contact is made. It's kept in, however. Another chance for the Greens. No doing once again as well. Ellis tried to keep it in, but to no avail, as it's another corner. Sustained period of pressure for the Greens. Marko Jankovic walking up this time. He'll make a run. And instead goes to the front post and is easily corrected by Theodoridis. Jankovic, of course, a hero. Well, a number of months ago now, at the beginning of the A-League season in 2018 FFA Cup, helping the Greens to claim their first ever A-League scalp against the Wellington Phoenix. So that was a heck of a night down there in Kingston Heath in the round of 32. And both of these sides, Joel, you would say, are somewhat FFA Cup specialists, aren't they? As Heidelberg now break forward here through Noon. Noon has a shot. Noon finds the back of the net. Wheels away with his hand in the air. He broke down the right, kept off his man, and hammers a shot into the bottom corner, giving Scott no chance, Joel.
Great effort from Harry Noon, and well, that is just an absolute kick in the teeth for Bentleigh Greens, because, well, they had worked themselves back into the game in the last probably 15 minutes or so, but really just one attack for Heidelberg. They haven't had an opportunity for quite a while, but well, gee, Harry Noon has maximised it there, and yeah, well, you could argue, Joey, and you'd probably have to say as well, well and truly against the run of play, and real blow for Bentleigh Greens. It's hard to see a way back into the game for them now.
Harry Noon. We talked about how he would have to come up big in the absence of Tom Cahill, and he's done so, breaking down the right, scoring his third goal in as many weeks. Scored last week and the week before that, and it's his fifth of the season. So he's a cult figure down here at Olympic Village. The Englishman with his flowing locks, and he's now made it 2-0 to Alexandros. As we see just what, if anything, Bentleigh can do to maybe get a goal back early. It's thrown in by Lambatteridis to UL, who will play it back. Ball is floated into the area. Man was waiting at the back post. I think that's Mitrovic, but Theodoridis collects strongly. And Joel, as I was saying before, I was oh so rudely interrupted by Harry Noon's goal. Both of these sides FFA Cup specialists, and they will begin their campaigns in the fourth round of preliminary games. As you see, once again, Noon tries to interrupt me with a goal, but this time doesn't doing. They will begin their campaigns in the fourth round of preliminary qualifying for the national stages very soon. And with all this talk of a second division, you would have to say that for those ambitious clubs, such as perhaps your Heidelbergs and your Bentleigh Greens, the national exposure that could come with a deep FFA Cup run is very important in 2019.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you'd have to assume, Joey, that both these teams would want to be in that kind of bracket as Harry Noon attacks here again.
Floats a ball in, but once again, Harry Noon seemingly insistent on us not talking about the FFA Cup. He keeps popping up when we're trying to. As Heidelberg keep up the pressure, the ball is floated back in. Zara was in the area, as was Ellis, but instead, Bentleigh can maybe look to get something going of their own. If they can break quickly on the counter. Oh, ball is still there. Heidelberg wanted a handball off Mika, but they don't get one. Just an attack there of Soom, Mika and UL trying to get something going, but no going. But yes, Joel, as you say, these two ambitious clubs, second division.
Yeah, finally, Joey. We finally got there in the end. But, yeah, no, look, I mean, certainly two teams that have been at the top end of NPL Victoria for quite a while. And, of course, as we know, their runs in the FFA Cup have been quite good as well. I think it was important for Bentleigh Greens to get that A-League scalp. They seem to have been working towards it for quite a while, but just couldn't get it, having, I guess, gone deep into the competition on a couple of occasions. And obviously Heidelberg United, we know what they've achieved. Made it to the quarterfinals a couple of times, of course, beat Perth Glory, probably the goal that probably put Kenny Athiu into the stratosphere and got him over to Melbourne victory. But, yeah, I mean, you'd have to think that both of these teams would certainly be interested in putting their hands up for that second division. I think clearly, as we've discussed multiple times, you and I on DFS, they both probably across the board need to professionalise, and I'm sure this place, Olympic Village, needs a little bit of a facelift, and I'm sure that will come in there. The funding that they have received from I think the state government. So yeah, it's exciting times really for not only these two clubs but other clubs in NPL Victoria, like Melbourne Knights, like South Melbourne.
Into the Knights move. Zara will keep the ball in, but unfortunately for him, he's got no teammates there, and now Bentleigh can look to break through UL. He's been very busy early, but he's endeavouring with not much luck, and he's getting lumps kicked out of him as well as he wins another free kick, which Bentleigh will take quickly and look to move down the left. It's now Theodorides is just standing over it. A bit of cheekiness from Theodorides. Yeah, Joel, you mentioned there Heidelberg United, a couple of quarterfinal appearances for them in the FFA Cup, including last year when they were eliminated by Bentleigh Greens in that down there at Kingston Heath, the Jacob Alexander goal, sending Bentleigh through to the semi-finals, where unfortunately for them they were rather outclassed by Adelaide United. It was probably nowhere near as close as their win over Wellington Phoenix was earlier, and you did mention, of course, the funding for the construction, the upgrades that will be occurring at Olympic Village. So those will happen later this season. And observers of the fixture will notice the heavily front-loaded home slate of games for Heidelberg is looking for Noon there, but no going. Yes, those works will occur for Heidelberg later in the year, where they will experience maybe their own version of South Melbourne's exodus from Lakeside when the GP is in town, when construction work forces them away from Olympic Village. Making these home fixtures, early home fixtures, and getting points from them early so important. And, well, from all indications, it's looking like this early home fixture will result in 3 points unless Bentleigh can do something miraculous. Was cut out by Holmes, but under pressure he coughs it up now, but Bentleigh will look to reset. Mitrovic was all on his own on the left. No doing, but Heidelberg's shape, holding strong and forcing the Greens to go all the way back. And even at the very top there, Noon applying the pressure. And, well, that's exactly what Bentleigh don't need, isn't it, Joel?
Yeah, exactly right, Joey. I mean, that was just poor from Bentleigh Greens. Credit, though, to Harry Noonan and Adrian Zara, and even Ruben Way to an extent, who are really pressing up high there. But I mean, that was an error that they could really do without. I mean, even should be sticking that pass. But a massive let off, and particularly at 2-0 down already. And we've spoken a lot about how Bentleigh did have their little patch a bit earlier, probably about 15 minutes ago. But it's stuff like that that's going to
LS over the bar.
It's stuff like that that's well and truly going to keep them at bay here.
As the fans in the grandstand across from us break out into chants of up Alexandros. Certainly been given plenty to sing about here in the early stages by their side. And once again, that pressure coming in, forcing Webster to just go back to Scott. He'll look to play it, flick it on, but once again, Heidelberg have forced a turnover now. Noon in possession outside the area. He's driving to his left, floats the ball back in. Headed clear by Jankovic, but living on the edge are the Greens, and they have conceded a corner here. Well and truly under siege. And, well, you mentioned, Joel, that you were struggling to see a way that the Greens could get back into this at 2-0, but at 3-0, as the ball comes in, it's still in there for the Burgers. But yeah, we've gone just about 34 minutes, and not a very good night for the Greens. But now they can come forward through Lambadaridis, but he is just robbed of possession. And now Heidelberg can move forward. It was a fantastic tackle from Hall, and he kept running. Not sure exactly he'd know what to do if they played the ball back to him in that final third, but it was a great tackle by him. So now the Greens trying to get something going down that left flank. And they will win a throw-in, but unfortunately for them, that throw-in will mean that Heidelberg will have the chance to reset their defensive shape. Ball is floated in long. Theodoridis comes, and Theodoridis collects rather comfortably. And with just about 10 minutes left in this half, Joel, you would think Johnny Anastasiadis over there on the sidelines, he's got to come up with a way to get his side back into this one. They're really under the pump and not looking likely at present.
Yeah, well, this is a crucial little period for Bentleigh Greens. I mean, I sort of spoke earlier about how I'm finding it hard to see how Bentleigh Greens will find a way back into the game. But that said, the door is still slightly ajar, so there is still an opportunity for them. It's absolutely imperative that they don't concede first and foremost. I mean, even at half-time, going into the sheds, if I was in Johnny A's shoes, I'd even think about rolling the dice with another change. Of course, that would leave them with only one left for the remainder of the game. But I guess at 2-0 down, it's certainly, in my mind, worth thinking about to maybe add a bit more of a spark to change the game right from the off and not waste any time.
As the ball was floated in, but it's going to be offside, and a reprieve there for Bentleigh. Of course, you can be, if you're watching this game, we thank you for joining us on both the NPL Victoria Facebook and YouTube streams. If you are on Facebook, be sure to leave us a comment on the stream. Michael, and I apologise for butchering your name here, mate. Michael Theocarus saying that Bentleigh needs some big name signings mid-season, just not good enough at the moment. Have been slightly indifferent in their league form as of late. And, well, mid-season signings, it will be interesting for Bentleigh, Joel, because, well, mid-season, they'll need a new coach as well, because Johnny Anastasiadis is set to join A-League New Boys Western United. He'll be taking Valentino Uel with him. Possibly some more NPL players around the trappings as well. But really, how do you think? Well, any NPL club, Bentleigh, anyone. How do you think you adjust from losing a coach mid-season when you're not sacking them for poor performance? They're taking another job.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Bentleigh do go about it. And I mean, Johnny A's been there for such a long time. I mean, it's going to take some real adjustments. And I mean, depending on who comes in as well, we could see, a new style of football put in place at Bentleigh Greens as well. And as we've seen, from various changes of manager, the adjustment could take anywhere from 20 minutes to 3 games or even beyond. So it's going to be interesting to see how they react to that. But it's going to be a big winter for Bentleigh, and of course Valentino Uel as well is going to be a big blow.
Of course, we have had. It looks as though there's an injury behind play here. I missed it. I'm trying to see who it is on the field, and Heidelberg players coming over to get a drink in the absence. Perhaps not too concerned for their teammate's injury. It was Noon that went down with a knock, and the trainer did come on to treat him, so he will have to leave the field. Of course, it'd be pretty hard for Harry Noon to pick up an injury worse than the one that he picked up last year for Heidelberg United at this ground down there in that left-hand corner of the pitch, accidentally collecting the corner flag and impaling himself on the pointy end of it in their clash with South Melbourne. Very nasty injury, but thankfully he was able to recover from that in the Burgess Championship winning season. Came back and was able to contribute to that. As we'll resume with Burgess kick sportingly, as we like to say, kicking the ball back. They tried to get it going down the right through Webster and Exidius, but once again the pressure forces them to go back, and they'll be forced instead to go up the left. And, well, you're not going to win many games just hoofing the ball long like that, are you, Joel?
No, you're not, particularly when you're behind and you haven't really got any momentum whatsoever. And, of course, you're losing or you've lost your central striker. I'm not sure that's the way forward. I think Bentleigh Greens have just got to keep the ball on the ground for a little bit. Maybe just hang on to possession for a little while, see if they can sort of wrestle control and momentum back of the game, just with a bit of time being just a comfortable team in possession. Just hang on a little bit.
And now I have a chance here down the left. Exidius will swing the ball in, but no doing. But they've got a corner. Corner is swung into the area, but deflected around there, and it is going to be a goal kick. I think George Katsakis, the Heidelberg coach, is remonstrating about something. I'm not sure what, given that his side have the ball. Instead, it looks like Theodoridis will hoof this ball as long as he can, which he does. Noon looks to get under it, as is Yankovic. Yankovic wins it. Another heavy clash there in the middle. The bodies are flying. Exidius tries to get the ball over the top for UL, but nothing doing. Now, play is obscured for us, at least, by the dugout. Comes out. Tight areas there as Noon goes down, but gives away the free kick, however. Interesting decision by the referee. Exidius wanted them to take it early, running down the right, but instead Holmes will play it back to Webster. Play it across to Yankovic. Now look to build down the left. A couple of men down there. But the pass back for Alexander is poor. And it'll be a throw-in for Heidelberg United. And Joel, pretty much just as we tick over into the 43rd minute, do you think the Greens are maybe just adopting an attitude of let's just not concede another one and get to half-time?
I think that's almost what they have to do. I mean, they haven't really created a great deal really since they had that little period. But I think at this point of the half, they really just need to clamp down and make sure they don't go into the sheds any worse than 2-0 down. Because I think certainly if they were to go 3-0 down, it's then I think it's pretty much curtains almost for them. But if 2-0, it at least gives Johnny A chance to get them into the sheds, regroup, and there's still a bit of hope there. He can maybe use another substitution and change things up a little bit from there. But I think for them at the moment it's just crucial that they just hold things down and that they're still within touching distance. Well, a little bit of touching distance going into the dressing room.
There is another NPL Victoria game on tonight. Port Melbourne, the Sharks against Oakley Cannons. That game is at half-time, and it is 0-0. Nobody recording a score in that one. Of course, an A-League match also happening at the moment. I know HIS A-League, this is NPL, but Melbourne City 0. Adelaide United 0 at half-time in that one. The game has just resumed.
Sounds thrilling.
Yeah, absolutely thrilling sounding that one, as Joel pointed out. Everybody loves a Melbourne City 0-0 draw. Bit of Joyce ball. Webster just heads the theatre Eaters clearance back. Just a bit of aerial ping pong going on here, but it will now be a Heidelberg United throw-in. Now Bentleigh, another chance to get something late, and they will have a corner kick very late in the contest. Well, the first half of the contest. And you can see Heidelberg United, well, they know how late it is in the half. Literally everybody getting back for the burgers. Adrian Zara, who, bless him, he knows he's not going to be any good in an aerial contest, is the only one not in the penalty area. Swung into the near post, headed clear by Noon. In the direction of Zara, as the fourth official indicates that we will have 4 minutes of added time added on. As the Greens come forward again. It's knocked clear, and now Heidelberg can break. But Scott will come out and hoof it clear, but only as far as Noon. Long range shot, just wide of the goals. And Bentleigh survive a potential clearance there. It was Noon who tried his luck from very, very, very long range on the left foot, but no going. It's Alexander switches play to Webster. Webster, kept aware by Noon, just plays the ball back across the field for Jankovic, who plays it back to Scott. Scott forced to go long. In the direction of Sue, but Heidelberg have a chance to go forward again. Webster heads it clear. Way. Ruben Way gets it out to the left. Noon collected comfortably by Scott. But another turnover from Heidelberg. And now Ruben Way will get the ball out to the right. Fans wanted a shot. Eventually came in from Ellis. And we've got another injury as well. Bentleigh defender hurled himself in front of Ellis on that shot, and he's copped a knock. As our viewers get a lovely view of the Olympic Village pole as our camera zooms in on that one. Scott will go along with it. Just another 50-50 contest, and Bentleigh haven't won many of those tonight. Just in that left flank, nothing going, and it's just knocked clear by pace. Ewell, he's lost his man. Gets the better of Dumbalis, and now he cuts it back inside. Somebody's got to pull the trigger. They do so deflected, but it's collected by Theodoridis. The shot came in from Lambertaridis, and, well, took a deflection, and in the end, it was a good save by Theodoridis.
Yeah, well, that could have gone anywhere, Joey, and, well, George Lambertaridis had a bit of making up to do because he was the one that turned the ball over a couple of minutes previous in Bentleigh's half. But I actually remember him scoring something of a belter for, I think, Brisbane Roar against Gold Coast United way back when. I think it might have been like 2010 or something, but it was a long-range strike. It was a good goal, so he's got it in his locker. And looks certainly worth a go. Good to see that Valentino Ewell was able to keep his feet there under pressure from Dumbalis. But, yeah, again, I suppose almost indicative of the way the half's gone for Bentleigh. It could have gone anywhere.
Ruben White shoots! And it's just kept out. I'm sorry to cut you off, Joel, but Ruben White almost making it 3-0. He kept going and going, and it just opened up in front of him, and Heidelberg will have a corner late.
Yeah, well, I mean, how things could have turned. One that could have gone anywhere down the other end, and was almost just indicative of the way the half's gone for Bentleigh. And Heidelberg go up the other end. Ruben White has a shot, and, well, fortunate in the end that it wasn't 3, but yeah, could so easily have been exactly what they didn't want. That's that goal that they didn't want to concede.
I must say, Joel, fantastic memory of you to remember Lambertaridis scoring a goal for Brisbane as the ball comes in and it's headed clear. Scoring a goal for Brisbane against Gold Coast in 2010, you big old A-League nerd you, as the referee whistles for half-time. A half that Bentleigh would like to forget, really. Ellis putting the hosts ahead early, and then followed up by Harry Noon's superb solo effort to slam the ball into the bottom corner of the net with his left foot to make it 2. And, well, Heidelberg well in control here, Joel.
Yeah, well in control. A couple of very crisp finishes, and you'd have to say probably a workmanlike performance from Heidelberg. As you mentioned during that half, Joey, it's really important that they maximise their home form before this place is out of action later in the season. But, yeah, look, they're on track for 3 points, very important. And, of course, Bentleigh Greens have had some opportunities. It's been reasonably scarce for them, but they have had their periods, and they haven't been able to make the most of them, whereas Heidelberg have. So, big opportunity almost, but very challenging for Johnny A at halftime to get into the sheds, of course, without Matt Thurtell as well, who went off. But he's got 2 changes left, so I'm interested to see whether he'll roll the dice and make one at halftime.
Well, here at Olympic Village, score is 2-0 to the host. Be sure to join us for the second half on the NPL Victoria Facebook and YouTube pages. My Welcome back to Olympic Village here for NPL Victoria, round 9, Bentleigh Greens versus Heidelberg United, and after 45 minutes, it's the home side, Heidelberg United, with a 2-0 lead after goals from Sean Ellis and Harry Noon in that first half. It could have been more. Heidelberg with a very strong start. Bentleigh very early lost their leading scorer, Matt Thurtell, to injury, and will really have it all to do here in the second half if they are to get something from this game and stay in touch with Heidelberg United. My name is Joey Lynch, and I'm joined here by Joel Frucci. And Joel, well, based on that first half, it's going to be very difficult for Bentleigh to get anything from this, but what do they have to do?
Yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult, and interesting to note as well that John Anastasiadis hasn't made any substitutions. I thought he may have rolled the dice in order to, I guess, just change something up and maybe throw some fresh legs in there, roll the dice, but that hasn't happened. I mean, I'd like to see Bentleigh Greens really just kind of hang on to the ball for a few minutes and just try to wrestle back some control of the game early days in this half, because even though I wouldn't necessarily say it's been a commanding performance from Heidelberg, it's been very professional and very clinical from them. But I mean, the door's still slightly open for Bentleigh. It's going to be tough for them, but I guess we'll wait and see what happens.
Indeed, as we now come out for the second half, and well, in that first half, it was definitely Bentleigh. In the end, they just kind of were forced to go long. They couldn't really build up through this intense pressure from the Heidelberg offense, pressing from the front, their forwards. As now we'll see what they can get going, but it's Heidelberg in possession now. Ellis was bundled off the ball, and pace. He's turned the ball over, and this is a chance now for Bentleigh. Uel is moving forward. He's got men in support. Uel is forced to play back. Oh, Lambertaridis there with the shot, but it's spilled by Theodoridis, but nobody following up. Could he have done better there, Uel?
Yeah, look, I think the second last touch wasn't the best. Yeah, I mean, he definitely could have done better, but it was a bit of a loose touch. But look, good intent though from Uel. I think he's one of the ones that really needs to kind of pick up the slack now that Matt Thurtell has gone, and really, I guess, show some intent, show some ambition by driving towards the goals. And I guess if Bentleigh can get those balls in behind, that's where he's going to be very, very telling.
Heidelberg now look to go forward. Not Heidelberg. Bentleigh look to go forward again, but no doing as Heidelberg snuff out that cross. Of course, we are live on NPL Victoria's Facebook and YouTube accounts, as that was a very heavy challenge from Jankovic. Nothing going, though, and Heidelberg now look to break, and that's Noon. Noon has been pulled back there, and then the frustration's coming up. He looked to maybe throw a stray arm, as now pushes and punches. Maybe not punches, maybe more love taps, but this is not what you want to see. It's really handbags at 20 paces here. Emotions boiling over between these two sides who have competed with each other in a lot of fierce battles over the years, and well, really everybody attempting to show how well hard they are with the pushes. Nothing's actually going to happen, of course, because then they'd actually get yellow carded or red carded, and they all well know that. Trying to defuse the situation in front of George Katsakis there in the home dugout. Fiery customer in his own right, not how good of a peacekeeper he'd be if called upon. Referees conferring to try to see what happens, but well, Joel, it's maybe not one of the more traditional big rivalries. Bentleigh and Oakley are local derby rivals. Of course, the clashes between Alexandros and Hellas, South and Heidelberg, famous rivalries. But well, these two sides really, you would be forgiven for saying that they don't like each other from what we've been seeing throughout this game. Lots of hard challenges, and now that all in. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's built up over time, and it's one of these ones. It's where success just breeds rivalry, and it's great for the competition. It'd be interesting to see here from this little flashpoint what punishments are dished out. I mean, surely there has to be a yellow card for the pullback on Harry Noon. I mean, that was a cynical foul in a dangerous position. So that simply has to be a yellow. I would hope it's brandished eventually. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what other action the referees take from this, and if any further action is required from those handbags that were dished out.
So there is a bit of a conference going now. We've gone less than 5 minutes in this half. And a yellow card is eventually flashed there. It looks to be for Mitrovic. Velibor Mitrovic looks to be the only one that's shown some fabric. Although, no, he's calling over. Sorry, it was Lambadoridis, not Mitrovic. Well, look, could have been Mitrovic. I saw 23 running away, but Joel is furiously telling me it was Tyson Holmes. Yellow cards all around here. And it was a red card for Harry Noon as well. His second yellow of the game. So Heidelberg are now down to 10 men. As a result of all that, and to be honest, if you were to go back and look at the replay of that, he probably actually earned it from memory because he did lash out after the pullback. And if you do lash out like that, you are going to cop a yellow card. But Joel, is that a lifeline for Bentleigh? Heidelberg down to 10 men.
Absolutely, it's a lifeline for Bentleigh. And, we've spoken a lot in the first half, particularly, and a big kick of the advertising hoarding there from the very combustible Harry Noon. But, it's definitely a way back in for Bentleigh Greens. And in particular, we spoke about, Heidelberg's need to find something different without Tom Cahill. And they did find that through Harry Noon and also Adrian Zara as well up front. In a front two. So now they're going to have to change things up again. But I guess the good thing for them is that they do have that 2-0 lead, so they could probably sit back and try to sort of sap their life out of this game. It's not like it's still 0-0 or they're behind. They do have that luxury in the bank. So, potentially, Joey, you could even look at it as a disadvantage for Bentleigh Greens, given that Heidelberg do have the lead. They could just park the bus and, make themselves really nice and tight and compact, and it could be even more difficult for Bentleigh to pick their way through. So I guess it's just going to be even more important for them to really pick their moments and really use the pace of guys like Uel in behind.
As now, after all of that, despite having a man sent off as a result of the all-in, the handbags, it will be a free kick to Heidelberg, which Ellis will look to swing into the box. The Scotsman swings it in on his left to the back post, but it will be... Oh, no, it's still kept in there. But Bentleigh now in a chance to break. And also, as a result of that fracas, the referee did flash a yellow card to somebody on the Heidelberg bench. Our viewer is obscured by the back of the dugout, but I'm going to take a wild guess and guess that it was George Katsakis that got flashed a yellow card. As the fans in the stands across from us, angrily remonstrating with the referee. But it will be, finally, maybe a chance to breathe, the throw-in for Heidelberg. Theodorides under pressure from Sue. Will pick the ball up. And he will just boot that ball long, but now no Harry Noon to potentially win those high balls for Heidelberg. We'll have to see if they keep going with that. But for now, they've got a chance. That's Zara on the left. He's cutting back inside. Probably should have pulled the trigger earlier because he has... No, Heidelberg will retain possession. Ball is swung in, but nobody there, and Scott will collect. And now Bentleigh, they've got men to spare here on the left if they can use them. Thurtell. Wow. Nothing doing, and now Ellis has a chance to break up the other end, but the numbers advantage for Bentleigh. It looks to be 6-2, now 6-3, but Wilkins in possession. It's the ball back to Ellis. Flick back on for Wilkins. Wilkins has kept going, puts the ball in. Zara couldn't bring it down. Scott collects, but Wilkins there really making something out of nothing for Heidelberg. He kept up this run, and that would have been, if they could have found the back of the net, an excellent goal for the Burgers.
Yeah, great run from Josh Wilkins, marauding run forward, and, well, Adrian Zara's situation, I mean, they're the ones now, if you're Heidelberg, you need to be maximising those opportunities. I mean, a goal there is pretty much curtains. I mean, really, because then Heidelberg, and we spoke about the fact that they can sit back. If they're 3-0 up, they really can do that. So, missed opportunity there, obviously, and, well, I just wonder if it'll come back to bite. If it'll come back to bite the Burgers. They're looking reasonably comfortable at the moment, though.
Wilkins, he made the move over a couple of seasons ago now from Western Australia, made the move to Heidelberg United, and since then has tasted quite a bit of success, of course, winning a championship with the Burgers last year. Is a bit of an Iron Man for the Burgers as well. Very rarely has Theodoridis. Well, he's going to keep you entertained, Theodoridis, the penalty-taking goalkeeper, but in his nice new grey threads after being forced to change into them. But yeah, Wilkins, bit of an Iron Man for Heidelberg, very rarely misses a game. Is often identified as having that potential to maybe make the leap to the A-League, the top level, and who knows, maybe with a future Western United coach on the sidelines, that's something that he can maybe look forward to, or MacArthur even in the season after that, because that is, of course, Joel, the important thing that the expansion and an eventual professional or semi-professional, whatever it is, second division will provide. It will provide opportunities for these players in the NPL that probably are at least worthy of a look in, but just can't get through that bottleneck that is the 10-team A-League.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, a guy like Josh Wilkins is, he's probably earned his stripes, you'd have to say. And I guess physically as well, a very athletic guy. I think, what's his nickname around the place? Shrek, I think. Probably says enough about him. But, yeah, I mean, he's certainly one. And you could make a case for a lot of these Heidelberg players as well, even guys like Sean Ellis, who's been very good, and the young guys who aren't playing tonight, the likes of even Katanos. There's players everywhere, Joey, that you could identify. And I'm sure if we asked our good friend Amir Kulash, he could probably ring off a whole host of names from this competition that are worthy of that opportunity. But, I mean, there are a lot, but that's, of course, one of the benefits that expansion will bring to the A-League. Hopefully, we'll see more of these players get a look in.
As Alexander just destroys a sponsors banner. Trying to keep the ball in, but he couldn't. We are live on NPL Victoria's Facebook and YouTube channel, so thank you for joining in. Leave us a comment if you are on Facebook. Ruby Samild saying, good keeping, Chris, with a yellow and black love heart emoji, so clearly wearing her Heidelberg heart on her sleeve. As Ellis does well to win possession for his side. Zara, well, he cops a hip and shoulder, but no doing as the referee waves play on. Hall was in there as well. Now Webster will look to come away with it. Not a lot in front of Webster. Just really struggled to get going in the midfield has the Bentleigh Greens, which is perhaps a bit surprising with Tyson Holmes in there, who did win the FV gold medal back when it was the FFV. They did win the FV gold medal last year, did Holmes, but really have not been able to play through Bentleigh at all tonight, as Heidelberg will throw the ball in down on the left. It's now on the Facebook, and I apologise if I'm getting his name wrong, but Spiro Vamvakitits. I'm not sure. I'm not very good with that names, but he's left a comment, YNWA, which I'm going to assume stands for You'll Never Walk Alone, and none of that Liverpool stuff in the comments. Thank you very much. We get enough of that. As Theodoridis will collect the ball. Vamvakittis, there we go. I think I got it on the second try. High ball in the direction of Ellis. He tries to trap it, but he can't. Instead, Bentleigh will knock it forward once again. I did get it right. Yay. As Spiro leaves a comment saying, I did eventually get it perfect. Unless he's taken the PISS, but it's the internet and I can never tell with sarcasm. As Bentleigh look to go forward once again. Ball is floated into the area. Mitrovic arriving late. He's on the ball. Mitrovic squares the ball, but there's nobody. Well, there were people waiting, but there was maybe a miscommunication. Couldn't find a man, and now Heidelberg, 10-man Heidelberg, can look to break forward. While they could look, but they're not going to get it as the ball was in behind Ellis, and instead Alexander will take the throw in. UL looks to break forward. Instead it will fall to Mitrovic. Can he retain Mitrovic's shot? Is cut off by Way. But now Alexander and Ellis will battle, and Alexander goes down under the challenge from Ellis, and he will win a free kick. Well, Theodoritis sounded like he was having an aneurysm there, yelling at Adrian Zara, telling him to get in position as the ball will be swung in by Alexander. Headed clear by the Burgers, however. And it will be a throw-in to Bentleigh on the right-hand side. Now Heidelberg will clear. Of course, another action tonight, the A-League, of course, Adelaide United versus Melbourne City. We've just gone on into added time in that one. It is 0-0 between the two sides. I'm sure, despite it being 0-0, I'm sure with Adelaide and Melbourne City, it will have been one of the most scintillating 0-0 games that you've ever seen. Yep.
Said no person ever.
Yeah. And NPL Victoria also in action. In that game, Port Melbourne versus the Oakley Cannons. Port Melbourne have a 1-0 lead, taking with a goal in the 65th minute. So, Port Melbourne, they didn't start the season well, but 3 wins in their last 5 games. And chance for the Sharks to potentially move up the ladder and compound Oakley Cannons' woes early in the season. Perhaps a lot was expected of Oakley with a number of their high-profile signings as Mitrovic wins the ball in midfield and goes down under a challenge, and he's remained down for now. Heidelberg fans yelling at him to get back up, but Oakley, they'd recruited strongly as Theodoritis decides to chest the ball down, perhaps starved of tension, chest the ball down before falling on it. But Oakley, with Chris Taylor in his first full season, recruited strongly, but it is all going, well, not according to plan for Oakley. Currently sitting 12th in the relegation promotion playoff spot, above only Kingston and Dandenong. So not the season they would have wanted down at Jackets Reserve. Of course, but it is such a tight season here in NPL Victoria as and a Heidelberg attack is snuffed out, because if these results currently hold, Bentleigh, who came into the game in 3rd place, would fall to 5th on the table, with the Knights moving up into 3rd after their win over Pascoe last night. And Altona moving into 4th place with their 4-1 win over Dandenong City last night, against another perhaps disappointing side in Dandenong City, who spent a lot of money in the off-season but find themselves rooted to the bottom of the NPL Victoria table. now with just about 25 minutes left, Joel, the game. It's definitely not as furious as it once was, maybe settling into an equilibrium. Bentleigh with the one-man advantage, but haven't really looked like, as once again, a Bronx cheer goes up amongst the Heidelberg fans. Bentleigh really haven't looked like really pressing that one-man advantage, have they?
Yeah, not really. I mean, for both sides, chances have been at a bit of a premium this half, and I guess it's not unexpected and very much understandable as well that Heidelberg have probably gone back into their shell somewhat, I guess, with that one-man disadvantage. But, I mean, they do have the 2-0 lead already, and, you could call it the epitome of anti-football, if you like. The old Jose Mourinho tactic as the ball goes out for a corner. I mean, they can do it. They're 2-0 up. They're in control. They're at home. They've got a good home record. And, of course, Bentleigh, without Matt Thurtell up front, they're looking like they're struggling for ideas. And I can't help but wonder how long it's going to be until Johnny A turns to the bench again.
It will be a corner kick here to the hosts. Sean Ellis will float it in on his left foot. Ball comes into the area. It's headed clear. Danger still there for Bentleigh, however, as the ball will come back to Ellis. Fed by Paul O'Brien. But now it will be another corner kick for the Burgers. As we've got Cloris Levin in the comments asking who got sent off. It was Harry Noon for picking up his second yellow of the game after both sides came together to express how hard they were. After a disagreement over a challenge on Noon, he did lash out after being pulled back as the corner comes in from Ellis, but is collected comfortably from Scott. But once again, we can see that Heidelberg pressure, and Ellis and Zara were there. Could have been disastrous for Bentleigh had they not been cognizant of the danger. Ball is played all the way back to Scott, who's under pressure. But maybe finally a chance for Bentleigh to come up through Exidius, who will spray the ball across the field to Mitrovic. Under pressure from Wilkins, he tried to play through Alexander, but the touch just was not there, and it'll be a goal kick to Theodoridis. And finally, Joel, you've been talking about it. Johnny Anastasiadis brings into action. Charlie Fry coming on. Replacing Josh Meeker. So Charlie Fry hasn't scored yet this season for Bentleigh, and it would be no better time for him to get his first on the campaign than in this situation, would it?
Yeah, great opportunity, and hard to miss as well with the rather luscious haircut. But yeah, I mean, seemingly I think overdue for Bentleigh Greens this change. I would have liked to have seen Johnny A pull the trigger a little bit early. I mean, they're in a situation where they've got nothing to lose, and they turn it over again here.
Now Heidelberg can break forward once again. Shot came in, but comfortably collected by Scott. Scott, one of the better goalkeepers in NPL Victoria. He did have a trial with the Newcastle Jets earlier in the A-League season, was passed over. Probably wrongly, in my opinion, for Ernie Merrick, if you're watching, but nonetheless, one of the best goalkeepers that we've got going around in NPL Victoria, and maybe if his future ex-coach, Johnny Anastasiadis, is looking for somebody to pick up the gloves for Western United, he could do a lot worse than Ryan Scott. As Zara will hustle forward but be bundled off the ball there by Bentleigh. Excellent defending there, and now Bentleigh can maybe get something going. Shoe goes back to Thurtell, and they'll look to move it back onto the right now, but unfortunately for Bentleigh, the delay has meant that Heidelberg can refigure their shape, but they do get a corner. Uel wins a corner for him, and well, Valentino Uel, Joel, that's not a name that we've seen pop up as much in this second half as in the first half, is it?
Yeah, no, it hasn't. And I guess, somewhat indicative of the fact that Bentleigh just haven't been able to really work their way in behind. And I mean, that's where you want Valentino UL as well. You want him picking up the ball in those dangerous positions and really using his pace and getting in behind the defence. But a good opportunity here from a corner. They need to make the most of this.
They will take it short and gets floated in, but no doing. Is rather simple headed clearance in the end, but it comes back in. But Ellis will this time head the ball out on that ginger head of his. Danger is not over, however, as now Alexander looked to get the ball back in, but he's won a corner instead. Another ball in by the Greens. Theodoridis came for it, didn't get it. However, fortunately for Theodoridis, Webster was unable to rise for it either. But now there's a man down for Heidelberg, and he kind of just saw it briefly falling to the turf. Trainer's on, so whoever it is, if they are right to continue, will nonetheless have to go off. And it has gone full time at Amy Park. A scintillating 0-0 draw between Adelaide and Melbourne City. And that result, well, doesn't really do a lot. Well, both sides went into that fixture hoping to press their case for a top 4 position. The result does mean that Adelaide United will retain 4th place on the A-League table on 38 points. 1 point clear of 5th place Wellington Phoenix and 6th placed Melbourne City. City will travel to Wellington next week as play does resume, and Luke Biles, who was the injured man, comes back onto the field. As Fry collided with Theodoridis there, but nothing doing. Of course, the other game in the A-League tonight, the Sydney Derby, Sydney FC versus Western Sydney Wanderers. Thankfully not being played at the SCG, but one would think should be a relatively straightforward task for Sydney FC, Joel.
Yeah, you would have thought so. I mean, I think they'll be pretty pleased to play on a track that's a bit better than what they had last week. But, yeah, of course, 2nd versus 8th in the league, so you'd expect that Sydney FC would do it. They've only lost 2 derbies since 2014.
Alexander swings the ball in, but comfortably blocked off by Heidelberg, because coming together of players back then. Ball was put forward in the direction of O'Brien, but instead it'll go out for a throw in, and we will have Heidelberg's first substitution of the game, Adrian Zara, coming off to be replaced by Jack Petrie. So the dish coming onto the field for the Burgers. Shout out to anybody that got that joke about Jack Petrie. Holmes in the midfield. Bentleigh coming forward once again. Chance for Heidelberg to break. It is 3-on-5. What can they do? Wow, not a lot, as it turns out. Ball is just run over the line, and Scott will take a goal kick, which he will take quickly. Bentleigh with just about 15 minutes left in this game. They realise that if anything is to come from this fixture, it will have to come soon for them. Jankovic sprays the ball out wide to UL, but UL hasn't tracked himself properly, and it will be offside as he gets a sarcastic cheer from the Heidelberg fans. Heidelberg, one of the most well-supported clubs in NPL Victoria, Joel. I mean, how many people do you think are here tonight?
Oh, good question. You'd have to maybe say maybe 1.5 or so. 2?
I'm not going to, not 2.
Yeah, probably about 1.5.
Whatever it is, and good turnout from Heidelberg. I'd probably say around maybe 1.1 or so myself, but Joel is ever the optimist and I am not. Once again, another Heidelberg attacks breaks down, and you can just tell that that urgency that they had going forward at times in this game is absent as Thurtell gives away a free kick for a push on Stephen Pace. Some of the fans nearby screaming for a yellow card. It's never a yellow card in a million years, but nonetheless, it will be a free kick to the Burgers as they will look to go forward once again. Stephen Pace, instantly recognisable Stephen Pace standing over the ball. He just floats it out to the left in the direction of Ellis, but Ellis can't control it. In the wake of Zara's departure, it looks like Ellis has moved on to the left. And the newly introduced Petrie is out here on the right now, with Ruben Wayne a more central role and O'Brien in behind him. This ball is stabbed out to the right, swung in the direction of UL, but he couldn't get there. And Ellis will collect and eventually win his side a throw-in. Way can't bring it down, and it will be a throw in to the Greens. There's 2 more games to come tomorrow for NPL Victoria. No, not tomorrow. 2 more games in this round to come for NPL Victoria. Tomorrow it will be South Melbourne versus Hume City. Important game for both sides, especially for South Melbourne. Get it with a derby win over the original Melbourne derby win over Melbourne Knights last week. Perhaps a bit of an upset, but they'll be looking to continue the momentum from that game. And then on Monday night, Kingston City hosting Green Gully. And Green Gully, of course, with Alex Salmon up front, the former Carlisle United man. Fantastic. We need more Carlisle United in Australian football. Who's been banging in the goals for fun. So another chance for Green Gully to potentially move up the table. They are currently sitting in 7th position as another clash has occurred. Now Theodoridis is on the turf. Heidelberg fans are furious. Looks like Theodoridis is going to be okay, but he did cop a bit of a knock on that one, coming out to claim the ball, winning the free kick in the end. Bentleigh awarded a yellow card for that incident as well, so... They will now move down the left, trying to get something going late, but no doing once again, as Wilkins will now bring the ball out. Miscommunication there, however, and Way cannot collect the ball. And it will be a throw into the greens. Heading into injury time now in the game, the other game being played tonight, Port Melbourne versus Oakley. Score remains 1-0 with 3 minutes of time at it remaining. Heidelberg fans wanted a free kick there, but it was, to be honest, probably an excellent sliding tackle there from Jankovic to win his side possession. Holmes now in the midfield trying to get something going, but really, for a game that they're trying to chase down, Joel, in the final 10 minutes, not a lot of urgency from the Greens.
Yeah, not really. I mean, they almost look like, Joey, that they've pretty much run out of ideas almost. They just haven't been able to find a way through Heidelberg, but that's a testament to them. They've stayed disciplined and kept their shape.
Once again, ball came in. Chance for them to possibly do something, the Greens, finally to get a goal back, but under intense pressure, the ball is just headed over the bar. Kind of summing up their night, really, for Bentleigh. Even when they do get into these areas and create chances, the pressure from Heidelberg and their own poor finishing has really, really let them down. On that occasion, Sue just unable to even find the target. And Theodorides will instead, yet again, hoof the ball long. As Heidelberg United making another change. Peter Deng coming onto the field, replacing Ruben Way. Excellent shift there from Ruben Way tonight. Departs with just about 8 minutes remaining, although we will probably have quite a bit of injury time given the all-in that occurred and the numerous injuries. Scott leaping into the air to clear that ball out, and it'll be a throw into Heidelberg in a somewhat dangerous area. And, well, it was speculative, that one, and it didn't even, let alone finding the target, it didn't even find the goal line eventually there for Heidelberg.
Great clearance. I'm sure the assistant referee was eager to get involved there. Just nicely set up for him.
And it has just gone full time. In the other game tonight, J.L. Murphy reserve, Port Melbourne 1, goal to Eager in the 64th minute, Oakley Cannons 0, so another win for Port Melbourne there. Good signs for the other team from South Melbourne. And of course it has also been a busy day in NPL 2. We'll take you through some of the results from that. So Langwarrin 0, Manningham United 1. So very much a huge upset there. Manningham United struggling throughout this season, knocking off Langwarrin, who had been flying high as of late. I believe they entered the round in second place, so a good result for Manningham United. Melbourne City Youth, well, they knocked off Eastern Lions 2-0. Eastern Lions had come into the round as the table toppers in that game, as we see the final substitutions being made for both sides. Jacob Burns coming on for Heidelberg United. And Marios Gerondaris coming on for Bentleigh. But no, as I mentioned, more results. Moreland Zebras 2, Melbourne Victory Youth 2. So Moreland Zebras flying high in the NPL 2 West, continuing to go from strength to strength. Moreland City 2, Brunswick City 3. So I'm one of those that you'd call that a local derby, wouldn't you, Joel? Moreland City versus Brunswick.
For sure, yeah, definitely. I mean, they're two in very close proximity indeed.
So Brunswick City getting the derby win over Moreland. In another gut, we'll call this one the regional derby. Murray United 3, Goulburn Valley Suns 2, as we'll pause as Bentleigh will swing another cross into the penalty area. So it's a back post, pack forms. Charlie Fry was waiting there. Couldn't get a hand on it, as was Webster, but no doing, and instead it will be another late corner to the Greens, as we'll continue to pause the NPL 2 results until we see what eventuates, as the ball comes in. Very long corner there. It's headed back into the area, but cleared well by Heidelberg United. Yeah, so Murray United 3, Goulburn Valley Suns 2, Springvale White Eagles 0, Northcote City 1, Werribee City 1, St Albans 1, Werribee City 1, St Albans 1, Whittlesea Rangers 0, North Geelong 0, and Geelong 3, Ballarat City 2. So, bearing in mind that we have one more game to come tomorrow, Bulleen Lions versus Box Hill United at the Veneto Club, but at the end of all that means that atop the NPL 2 West for another round will be Werribee City, surprise league leaders, Werribee City on 20 points, and in the Eastern Conference, despite the fact that they've now lost 2 games on the bounce, Eastern Lions will retain top spot in that conference, with Langwarrin losing today. And, well, Joel, I know it's very early in the season, but could you imagine us in the NPL next season, Eastern Lions and Werribee City?
Well, that'd be interesting. No, I wouldn't have picked that. Yeah, I mean, oh, here we go.
Chance for Heidelberg to put the cherry on the sundae, but well saved by Scott. Called into action there. Very late. Did well to just get down and dig that ball out. Very dangerous errors there for Bentleigh. Could have easily been 3. I don't think at this stage of the game, with about 3 minutes left, they're not really a chance to get a result. But Scott, at least for keeping their goal difference in check, as now Ellis has the ball. Takes a ping from range. Ellis just over the bar. So a number of good chances for Heidelberg in quick succession. Jacob Burns forcing Ryan Scott to make a good save down low with his feet. And then Sean Ellis following up with a long-range blasted effort that just went over the bar. Heidelberg coming forward now once again. O'Brien in possession. Gets the ball forward to Burns. But he can't keep it in. And it will be, well... And we've got another disagreement there between Burns and Yankovic. Right in front of the linesman, but referee hasn't seen it because play has continued. And instead now we'll see Bentleigh switch the play, trying to get something going. Alexander swings the ball in, but it's athletically, majestically cleared for a corner. Off the crossbar. Good Lord, it looked to be Ewell off the crossbar. Reprieve for Heidelberg. But the danger's not gone yet as Bentleigh continue. Another shot comes in. Theodore just dived. It was deflected. Bentleigh keeping the ball area. Can they get something? Shot finally comes in. It's over the bar. as the referee indicates an extra 5 minutes of added time. But Joel pretty much just sums up Bentleigh's night really there, doesn't it? UL has a chance to bring it back, and it just crashes off the crossbar and back into play.
Well, Joey, when it's not going your way, it just doesn't go your way, does it? Yeah, I mean, a couple of efforts there from Bentleigh that really could have gone anywhere, and I mean, we've seen a couple of those tonight, and they just haven't fallen for them. And yeah, look, very much indicative of the night that's been. But you'd have to suggest that it probably would have been all too little, too late in any case. I mean, they've had the best part of 45 minutes to really try and pick Heidelberg open, and they just haven't been able to do it. And that was probably really the first instance where they've been able to really create some havoc in the penalty area, and it was from a set piece as well. So just generally speaking, from open play, they haven't really done enough to actually warrant the goal, you'd have to say.
Yes. Heidelberg down to 10 men for the better part of 40 minutes, but you wouldn't really know it from the second half. So now Burns will have a chance to break. He's on his own. But he's gotten the ball back now on the left. Petrie is arriving in the middle, but Burns just falls over himself, almost does the splits, really. But Heidelberg retain possession. And will work the ball to Ellis on the right. Wilkins sprinting in support. The big man has kept going now. Excellent hustle from Wilkins very late. Sue, who came on very early for the injured Matt Thurtell, has endeavoured in vain throughout this game. UL cutting inside. Eventually just couldn't get a shot off and has inadvertently turned the ball out for a goal kick. And well, Joel, it was never really in doubt, but pretty safe to say at this point, yep. Good win for Heidelberg. Separate themselves in second place, keep touch with Avondale. And what have you thought of Heidelberg tonight? What's your prognosis for the rest of the season from them?
Yeah, look, I think it's been a professional performance from Heidelberg. I mean, they in the first half, I mean, you'd probably have to say on balance that they were the better team, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it was a dominating performance from Heidelberg. But they were clinical, they were professional, they did what they had to do. And then, of course, they lost Harry Noon early in this half, and after that, they pretty much closed ranks. Bentleigh couldn't get through them, and they were actually probably able to create more chances than Bentleigh were. So, and more importantly for them as well, of course, as we know, later in the season they'll have a lot of away games, but they've really been able to maximise their home fixtures. Another win, it's very important.
As Burns was up there on the left, kind of just taking it to the corner to kill time, but he's turned the ball over. Chance for Bentleigh to do something late, but instead they'll turn the ball over. It's really been one of the themes of the game, this pressure from Heidelberg, not allowing Bentleigh to do anything. And for Bentleigh, this will be another blow to that early season good form they had. It means they'll have lost half of their last 6 games after tonight, and with Johnny Anastasiadis set to depart at the midway point of the season, well, you'd never bet against Bentleigh after what we've seen them do in previous years, but perhaps some concern as a free kick for Bentleigh outside of the area. But Joel, Bentleigh, well, you'd want to get at least maybe just steady yourselves pretty quick after what we've seen tonight, wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's probably alarm bells now. I mean, it has been an indifferent start to the season for them, but there's been a lot of teams this season in the NPL that have had to deal with challenges, and Bentleigh will be one of those eventually as that header goes wide of the target. But Bentleigh losing Johnny A is going to be a big challenge to overcome from them. It's been very much the same. There's been a lot of stability at the club for so long now. Johnny A leaving for Western United during the season is really going to, you'd have to say, will upset things. And we spoke about it earlier. We could see a change of style, for example, which always presents challenges for players to become acclimatised to. So, to have to deal with that halfway through the season is hardly ideal. And the fact that they've fallen behind the pace of the likes of Avondale and now Heidelberg and Melbourne Knights as well is absolutely not ideal for them.
Rumours being that Bentleigh will potentially look to go in-house as the referee blows full time. A 2-0 win to the Burgers. See the fist pump from George Katsakis. He likes that one. And unfortunately, it looks like we're going to get handbags once more. Paul O'Brien, oh, good Lord. Oh, fantastic. An all-in has developed at the final whistle. Everybody's getting involved. We need just cooler heads to prevail here. Well, I think the fan on the sidelines there summing it up. The game is finished. Why are you fighting? Frustration's clearly evident for Bentleigh. They've come in tonight. First half goals from Sean Ellis and Harry Noon put them behind the 8 ball. Despite the fact that Noon departed early in the second half, we're never really able to get anything going. The intense pressure from the Burgers never allowed them to build through their back line. Matt Thurtell going out injured. Just a frustrating night for the Burgers. No, frustrating night for Bentleigh, a great night for the Burgers, who will leave tonight with a 2-0 win and second place in NPL Victoria secure for another week. I've been Joey Lynch. I've been joined by Joel Frucci. Thank you for joining us on the NPL Victoria Facebook and YouTube pages. Be sure to tune in for every NPL Victoria, NPLW Victoria and NPL Under-20s game throughout the season on the Facebook and YouTube pages. Until next time.